live, Kelly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Look, it's 8:59.
I'm really proud of ourselves right now. I think that
I am too. I just hope that I'm on the right live stream.
are we?
I don't know. Maybe, yes, we did it right today. This is very exciting. Right. 1 minute early, and I nailed the live stream. So, like, maybe we need to start 1 minute early every week to make up all the times that we've been late. So, okay. So I called you about this. There's so much. Like, I feel like we need to start 5 minutes early just so that we can say good morning to each other before we have to jump into why people are actually on the live stream. But I'm just going to jump in and digress for a second. So, because I have to share this with everybody. So anybody who joined last week, I got on the call and announced in my top knot and workout clothes that I could not be bothered and that this was as good as it was going to get. This was last week. This week I showered. I still really haven't done much, but I did put on a nicer shirt. Anyways, so last week, this is the best though. So I told Kelly this happened. I got on a call the next day. I think it was the next day because I had to take the train down to Miami to speak. And I get on this call and somebody that I had not met yet says, and I couldn't be on video because I was in the train and I didn't want to be distracted. Anyways, so we get on this call and I hadn't met her. And she said, it's really good to see all of you. And this is as good as it's going to get today. Because I learned from Ellen yesterday. I joined her live stream and she set the standard that it's okay. She said, because I'm going to play tennis later. And so this is it. Like, and it may, I'm like not doing it justice. I was like, I couldn't love you more right now. It made me so happy that happened. Like that,
Right.
like being right.
You told me that she said I wasn't going to go on camera, but because Ellen did, I now feel comfortable to go on camera. And I think what we were trying to say is like, we are trying to fit everything in, right? We're trying to fit everything in. And that's part of this entire conversation of like what we're doing and how we're doing it. And Ellen loved my Mad Men look.
You threw it. Kelly got on today and like, I was like, I can't win. I was proud that I took a shower and put on a nice shirt and she gets on and I'm like, you're total Mad Men today.
Well, the thing is, I should have been born in the 50s. The food was better back then.
That is true. But the 50s, it was right in that perilous place though, where it went downhill fast.
Right. And these are I used my curlers from college. I'm throwing in this look because I am going to a conference next week in New Orleans and I get to see my big sis in sorority. It's like so crazy how it happened, but it was like.
So you're practicing. So you look fan-friggin-tastic today.
Well, thanks. It's if you saw, I'll put up after for this, my high school senior picture. My hair is like this.
Okay, you can share. You can share. I had really big hair in high school too. So, okay. So let's dive in. I slept 3 hours or 5 hours. 5 hours. I'm very upset with myself. I woke up at 3:30 this morning. I'm involved, but I'm bringing this up because we're talking about nutrition and AI today. We're picking this up from last week. And I have Claude teed up today for us to play in, my Claude, my personal Claude, because I want people to see how I interact with it. And I want you to be able to play with it too. But I was very upset with myself this morning because I'm working on this Maha Elevate grant. So it's a big grant for a massive community. Like it's really important to my heart because if it gets approved, it's a lifestyle medicine intervention that's actually a whole titrated year-long, really all 6 pillars of lifestyle for people could really change and very, very high incidence of metabolic disorder in the community, low income, it's a super exciting program. My brain was swirling. And so 3:30 in the morning, here I was awake, right? So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I did still make it out to walk and I still went to the gym. I was like, nope, we're doing this. But what I want to do in Claude today, when we dive into this, is I want to say to Claude, what are the implications metabolically to the fact that I only slept 5 hours last night? And would you suggest that I change what I eat today? Would you change, right? Like, here's what I've done and what do I need to, right? Like, I think these are things like we talk about nutrition in a very static sense. Like, it's just about what I'm eating. But how your body processes that is dictated by so many more variables than just the static food item that you're eating, right? So,
Mhm.
anyways, I guess I'm supposed to back up since we started early. I'm totally like when we do an after action review of like how we did on this episode, I'm going to get a big fat F because we were talking about Mad
No, no,
Men and
no.
lipstick
It
and
needs to be. We are still real people, and that's where I hope everyone watching knows that we're real people and we're just trying to make it through here.
yes,
So,
exactly. But this is unprocessed and unfiltered.
yes.
Our little show that we do on Tuesday mornings for half an hour. I'm Ellen and you're Kelly Springer. And we talk about avoiding bad choices and making genuinely good ones. And the fact that they're two very different things. And we tend in nutrition to focus on avoiding bad things and avoiding bad choices. And we don't really have a lot of information about how to make genuinely good ones and what that means. So we have this little show of ours as an excuse to talk every week because we like each other and we never talked until we had our little show. Like we would see each other and like make time, but very too little. But now we get to talk every week and it's 30 minutes. And so we're going to jump in. You're a registered dietitian, founder of Kelly's Choice, which is personalized nutrition that's covered by most commercial insurance. And a lot of people don't know that. So I am going to jump in, if you're okay with it, into Claude. I'm going to open it up. You
Yeah.
jump in a little bit of your thoughts on AI and nutrition. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to read this. I'm not supposed to wing it, Kelly. So I'm going to do what I was told to do. Last week, you ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Last week, we talked about two ledgers: what food gives your body and what it costs you. Nutrient density on one side, chemical load on the other, because we talked about pesticides last week. The grocery store doesn't show you either one. This week, we're going to talk about the tool that most of you already have on your phone that can start to close the gap if you know how to use it, but most people don't. So, most people, I think, or a lot of people are asking the wrong question and getting answers that sound right, but they're not actually moving anything. So, today we're going to use Claude. That is the infamous tool in your pocket. I want to be really clear. I said this last week. I will say this over and over, not ChatGPT. I have tried both and I have had many, many, many people tell me that they have been using ChatGPT and they're not enamored with it for health. And I remind them that ChatGPT has not released anything around health. It is not very good, but Anthropic back in January announced that for their $20 a month plan, you get Claude for healthcare. I sat next to Dr. Joe Pizzorno, who's one of the leading scientists around chemical load, metabolic, all of these things, right? Naturopathic doctor. And he was very skeptical in AI. He had me prompt Claude. And when he heard the answers and read the answers, he was like, okay, that's my mind has changed. Got another text from a friend today. You blew my mind. I did Claude and now it's totally different. So I just want to clarify that for everybody. All right, you jump in, Kelly. I'm going to pull up Claude.
Yeah, pull it up. So on Friday, I wanted to tell you this too, because I haven't talked to you since. On Friday, I spoke in front of 100 Head Start teachers and admin. And it was really interesting because it was on nutrition as it relates to mental health, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm actually doing TV right after this, hence the Mad Men look. And it was really interesting because what you said in the beginning of this episode is something I want to hit home with is what do we add in? So when we're talking about using AI and we talk about the right prompts, that is something I want you to think about. So in nutrition, for decades now, we've been about restriction. We've been about what not to eat, like we were talking about. I want you to start prompting it with what do I add in? And this is where if we can start adding in fiber, adding in hydration, adding in protein, we're going to see such a better health result than if we are taking away. And that is just like something that I just want to hit home on when we talk about mental health is the add in.
I love it. Okay, so here is I have a project called Health Optimization. Just everybody knows, these are all of the files that I've downloaded. This is 15 years of my health data, lab results, scans, all sorts of interesting information. Other things that I've put in there, constructs that I like, just so everybody can see, like, this is the kind of stuff. It's got my InBodies in there. It's got my DexaFit. It's got all of it. Okay.
So is this protected, Ellen? Is this
Well, it's protected within Anthropic. I mean, they can't like throw this information out into the Netherlands. But yeah, I mean, I don't have this out through an agent in OpenClaw yet. I have not, I've been working on building my own personal health agent, but I haven't gotten there yet. Because I'm still set kind of back and I'm actually extraordinarily busy. And the 3 agents that I've built, I've been deploying them in more workhorse manners, not just as like a fun hobby, but actual like, nuts and bolts. Yeah. But here's the thing. So this weekly cadence, this running health continuation, all of these different things are things that I've done. So like, for example, I did this lab called Zenzino that somebody had asked me to do from a nutrition perspective. And it was to show my omega-6 and omega-3 balance. And I got the lab results back and it was like red. And I was like, this is crazy. And it also just seemed a little like, I don't know, a little sketchy, right? And because it was like, buy this oil. And I'm like, wait, what have I done here? And so I did some research on it. And so, I'm not going to go down this path, but one day we should pull this one up. Maybe we'll do this next week. It was really fascinating because it was actually, when I dug into it, it was saying like, there are a couple of markers in there that is good data to have. But how this company is interpreting it is where the issue comes in. And that's the same with like any of these, like Aura even gives you it. I think that's the difference is like, I like getting raw data and now working with Claude, knowing me to customize what the answers are for me, knowing my entire health picture rather than again, sort of putting me in this randomized control group in a way, or not just a random group. Right. So anyway, so let's dive into, this one. I'm going to do this one because I feel like this is where. So the thing is, I have all these different conversations because you max out on these conversations. Okay. So like, basically you get to the end of a period of time in Claude. And this is why I've been talking about doing an agent where Claude's like, yeah, you've given me too much information on this conversation and you're gonna have to start a new conversation. So
I kind of like that you actually tapped out Claude. Like, like I'm just gonna. Can we just take a second? Like, even Claude was like, Ellen.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. And then I'm gonna just call out my girl.
I'm dying.
And I'm gonna call out my girl Ellis McHugh, who's on right now, because you should call her out. Because Ellis would be like, yeah, I broke Claude in like 2 minutes. Ellen broke Claude in 3.
I just think I'm dead. That's hilarious.
Well, it happened with Uni when I created my agent, my first AI agent. I broke her in like a hot second, and she was literally like, "My context window is too large. Like, I am confused now. You're messing up." So, okay, yeah, Ellis is like sending smileys and hearts. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, so stay on track. We're gonna stay on track, Kelly. Okay. All right. So we're going to have fun. So I'm going to just talk to this particular chat is when I think Claude called me out for a 1:49 a.m. wake up. The Claude was like, yeah, we got real problems here, girlfriend. Like, this is not okay. Like, that's, if any of you want to read that I posted it and I wrote a whole Substack piece on it a couple of days ago because it was so cathartic. It was like, Claude basically was like, maybe your husband hasn't been able to convince you this is okay, and maybe not your parents or anybody else in your life, but I, the AI, am going to somehow tell you that you've got real issues here. Okay. So let's do it this way. So I'm going to say, I woke up way too early at, um, at 3:30 a.m. after only 5 hours, of sleep. My heart rate, I'm cheating here. Variability, was bottomed out, and I didn't get enough REM. I'm cheating on all this, everyone. This is something that normally I would have Claude help me with, but I'm just trying to make it quick
And
today.
it's gonna come back and say, "I got issues. You got 'em." Right? It's just
But
gonna
I
make
still, but I started working because my mind was spinning, and I am writing this Elevate grant that has to be done in 72 hours.
Do you have a
Um,
nutrition part of that grant?
yes, but well, yes and no. I'll explain it to you. So,
Okay.
okay, that has to be done in 72 hours. But I still did my 3.5 because I can't friggin' run right now. I'm still so sad. Mile walk with my friend, and then went to the gym and lifted heavy upper body, um, for 40 minutes.
Go you.
Um, I then had a protein and plain Greek yogurt with blueberries and some 2% milk. Within an hour of the workout. And I'm wondering metabolically, the impact of not getting enough sleep and still putting a big allostatic load on myself today will do, and how I might adjust. This is how I break Claude, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, because I have a 14-hour plus work day with a big cognitive load. This is honest. Okay. See what Claude says. Now, I
Okay.
have to give warning that this particular conversation was running out of space, so we may bomb out on that. Um, so what would you say, Kelly, if you had a client who was like, "Look, I'm not sleeping enough."
Okay. So
Um,
this is exactly what I would say. I
okay,
would say that, and it's all popping up now. But what I would say is when you have a reduction in sleep, your body's trying to find simple energy. So it's going to actually crave simple carbohydrates. It's going to crave things that are going to break down glucose easily because your body is actually tired. So this is where understanding that we don't want to skip meals on a day like that. We want to make sure we're getting in the hydration and fiber and protein because you are more likely to go towards and your body crave those types of foods because you're looking for that simple energy.
okay,
So it's really awareness during this. And so let's see what it said.
okay. So I have to put in a new one because I thought that's what it was. So this is a more recent one. I'm going to get really yelled at in this one. See, the other one I was hoping I may not get as criticized, but on this one, I think I'm in this particular conversation. I think I'm really going to get my butt handed to me because this is one that I had been doing a really good job. I just maxed out. Okay, here we go. All right. See, this is why I'm a huge fan. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what's happening internally? Cortisol is running high.
Yep.
Sleep deprivation alone elevates cortisol. You stacked exercise on top, which spikes it further. And I just want to be clear, I'm a junkie. And so until I started working with Claude, I would have never not gone to the gym or I would have never not exercised. But Claude has taught me you got to balance this. Like there is a trade off here. And I'm hell bent on staying cardiovascularly fit. But the reality is that doesn't mean that you aren't paying a price, right? In other ways.
Mhm.
Just because my VO2 max is high doesn't mean that I'm not doing damage vascularly,
And
from the load.
look at what it said. I mean, it really was what I said that
Yes.
carb craving
Mhm.
and sugar will be up significantly. And
Yep.
so this
One
is,
night of poor sleep drops insulin sensitivity 20 to
yeah,
30%. You'll process carbs less efficiently today, which means that I cannot eat, I can't have a carbolicious day, which to your point is probably what I'm going to crave.
that's what it says right there. You're gonna crave. It says literally in the one, two, three, four, in the hunger
Ah, here we
hormone.
go.
Yeah,
Ghrelin Lipton down. You'll feel hungrier than your actual needs and crave carbs and sugar specifically.
what I say.
You didn't go to school for nothing.
Right? Oh, my phone is I didn't get that. Can you say it again? Um, so but this is where, yeah, this is where when people say they're like, I just don't have willpower. No, 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 no. It's not about willpower. This is about anatomy and physiology and what happens. And I like that this is actually teaching you this is what happens. So when you're going to crave more. So this is where again, this is the add in. This is what you need to add into your diet to help adjust that.
Yep. Well, so, okay. So here we go. Eating. Let's see what it says. And then let's do that. Let's ask it some more questions on that. Okay.
Yep.
So eating, eat every 3 to 4 hours, no longer. Okay. That's
Mhm.
important. So my metabolism's going to crash faster. So,
And what I say, don't
yeah.
skip meals today.
Yep.
That's the number one thing I said when we started. Don't skip meals
And
today.
then here's what's interesting. So each meal, 25 to 35 grams of protein, which I did it here. By the way, I don't normally I'm not a huge fan of liquid breakfast, but I also needed to slam down the protein. I'm also not a huge fan of protein powder, but it also does synthesize quickly. And today was one of those days. So this is what it
Yeah.
is. Okay. But my smoothies are completely whole. Like there's no sweetener. There's no, like, it's just like bam. Okay. Complex carbs. So talk about this, Kelly. Like because
Yes.
remember above it said that, like, here's what's really important, right? So when we talk about good, like again, this show is about talking about the good stuff and not just avoiding the bad. So up here, it talks about basically I'm going to process carbs less efficiently today. But down here, Claude is saying complex carbs.
Yeah.
So what's
Okay.
the difference here?
So this is where we get into, and I think I've probably told you this analogy before, but it's the best one and it really makes sense. Carbohydrates are like a giant rainbow of foods, giant rainbow. So you have jams, cookies, cakes, but you also have fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and you have beans and things. One side of the rainbow, pot of gold. The other side of rainbow, angry leprechauns with knives in his hands. Pot of gold, angry leprechauns. So the difference is here is fiber. The pot of gold side has fiber. And for everyone out there that doesn't understand fiber, fiber comes from plants. It gives it its structure. Fiber is what stabilizes those blood sugar levels. Fiber is what brings down your bad cholesterol. Fiber is the key to health. Okay. So the other side, angry leprechauns with knives, are carbohydrates without fiber. Those are the simple carbohydrates. Okay. And they go into the system and they nick and cut, they cause inflammation, and they also lead to us to have that deregulated glucose levels.
Well,
And
last night, perfect example. And then I want to hit on a comment that Lynn Stewart made, who I so appreciate the comments provided there, that we have a ongoing, healthy, meaningful conversation. To me, I very much appreciate the expertise. So I'm going to jump there for a second, but first I'm going to make an observation here. So last night, my son wanted to make cookies and brownies for his teachers. Now he's 17, and this is tricky for me because I know as a teacher that I would probably I try to get him to make, we have a recipe for protein balls. They're like, he's not a fan of that. He wanted to make the cookies and the brownies. I went ahead and said, yeah, like, again, this is like tradition. This is a very difficult path to navigate. So like another time we should talk about that part of things. Like, how do you manage that? So anyways, I said yes, despite how busy I was. I friggin' love sweets. I love sugar. Okay. I have to work so hard to not, I mean, like, I've had candida issues in the past. Like, I used to keep a bag of milk chocolate Ghirardelli chips on my desk. This was like 20 years ago when I was doing a bunch of like big endurance things. It was horrible. It was horrible for my gut. I don't do it anymore, but like, I just am wired to love sweets. I have been since I was a child. So of course, we're making the cookies and the brownies, and you can imagine, at least for me, I had a difficult time keeping my hand out of. Now I didn't do bad, but I had a cookie, I had some brownie dough. My body's not used to that level of sugar. And so that was part of last night. Like that was part of why I did not sleep as well, is because
It's
I
true.
put that sugar in at 8:30 at night when I should have been in bed. And that's which we can put in here. Now, Lynn made a really, oh, Cleo says Kelly makes the show worth to watch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love what I do. I love educating. It's just so much fun. And thank you for being here and being a viewer. I really thank you, Ellen, for making this happen.
Well, no, it was the whatever. Anyways, we're together. We were together after we met 2.5 years ago. We're ride or die. Okay, so Lynn makes a really and I do not disagree with this at all. I really appreciate this balance. Here's what bothers me the most about using technology for health and nutrition. The answers that come back are reason and research, technical based. My relationship with food has always been hands on. I need to touch it, smell it, taste it, feel it, prepare it, cook it. A physical experience, not a rational experience. Instead of asking Claude, what should I eat after 5 hours of sleep and a project deadline, what feels comfortable to me is to ask my gut. And I don't disagree with that. I think there's a balance here, right? Because I think this also gets back to learning style too. I'm one of those people that I need to know why. When somebody can say to
Really,
me,
Ellen? Really? Really? I couldn't I didn't know that about you.
fair enough.
No,
Fair
I understand.
enough.
I understand both sides of this. And that's
I don't
where
even think it's
nutrition
size, right? It's just because I'm
well,
the same way. Like the other day, I was like, gosh, I am just not hungry. I'm not hungry. And I know I'm
okay.
supposed to be eating all this, but
But this is where dietitians in what we do, it's a relationship with people and with food. So this is where culture comes in, our history comes in, how we felt with eating with our grandmother or whatever it was. There's so many things that are tied to food and the feelings around food. And so we can have the two things can exist at the same time. We can bring in those feelings of food and the smell and the textures and everything around food, but we can also do it in a way that's healthy. So there's two things that can exist at the same time. And we can trust our guts and we can listen to that. And it's been interesting over the past 20 years to really dive into the relationship around food and the thoughts around food, and then also bring in the education. Like you want to know, right? I want to know how to live a longer life. I want to know how to feel better. I want to know, and like both of these things can exist at the same time. So I hope everyone listening understands that piece too. But yeah,
um, so I'm throwing this last one in and then we'll close out because sadly we're at the end of the 3 hours. So
or 30 minutes.
why did I say 3 hours? I really am tired. So I think what's important about Claude is it's all about the data that Claude has about you, and it's all about the prompting that you do. So I do want to say to everybody, the reason I get such robust information out of Claude is because I have put so much information into Claude about me. It has so much blood work, so many different points of data on me that I have that. So if you only have a basic CBC and you've only seen the doctor, and you have a couple of those visits, you are not going to get the same kind of insights that I'm getting out of Claude, which I'm not here to say you should go get a superhuman superpower test or you should do function or whatever. But I will say that collecting data on yourself, to Lynn's point, you can collect that data without any information. You could simply go into Claude and say, I didn't sleep that well last night, or I went to sleep around 9 and it's 5:30 in the morning. I felt like I had a good night's sleep. I didn't feel like I had a good night's sleep. I tossed and turned. I got up. The dog got me up. My kid got me up. You can put that type of subjective observational information in, and it will create a pattern for you. It becomes a journal, it becomes a log, and it has a running ticker of how that is, and it can still come up with the same kind of pattern matching. So I do want to say that. But here's what I said: knowing the details of my deficiency. So it knows that I have a thyroid problem. It knows I have autoimmune disease. It knows all the fun facts about me. It knows I have a folate deficiency. La 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 la. So I said, knowing that, and my sleep deficit of last night, and the last few weeks of data that we've been talking about, what nutrient focus and meal ideas would you suggest today? Now, it's going to be biased because it knows what I like to eat. It knows what I typically have in the house because I talk to it, right? But here we go. Your active deficiencies and concerns to target today: folate, omega-3, iron, B vitamins generally, magnesium, vitamin C, protein synthesis. And then it tells me why, right? Magnesium is going to help with the sleep. Vitamin C is a cortisol management cofactor.
Well, okay, I want you to keep this up for a second too, because this is something that I explained on Friday's presentation and going to be talking about today in just 10 minutes on TV, is that nutrition isn't one thing. And this is a perfect example of that it's not just protein. It's not just this magnesium supplement. It is a combination of all these foods. So this is where we get back to my amazing power of 5. If we can get in the 5 food groups, it will make sure that we do get folate, omega-3s, vitamins. And so I think understanding this, and I like that this put this together for you, that it didn't just say take a magnesium supplement. It said this is in a variety here.
Right. Look, magnesium. Well, and I have pushed, this is the other thing that people need to know. I have told Claude, I want to get as much through my food, through whole food as possible. I do not, yes, I have a supplement stack, but I would really prefer not to have a supplement stack. I want my body to be intaking the whole real foods that create as much of what I need nutritionally on a macro and a micro basis through my diet.
I love it.
But yeah.
All right, everybody, I have to hop off for TV, but this was incredible. I'm diving into my own AI for my company. I'm loving it.
So what is this one thing? What is the one thing we're going to tell people? This you want to call it?
One thing about this?
What do we want to tell people this week to do? One thing. Create a project in Claude and start talking to it about what you like to eat. Put some recipes in there.
Tap it with, what do I add in? How do I get more whole foods? Ask it those types of questions. Okay, so let's do the add in. That's my takeaway.
Christo says, one thing, just start. That's a good one. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. We'll talk next week. Bye, everybody. Another episode of Unprocessed and Unfiltered with my friend Kelly, who is way cuter than I am. We'll see you guys next week.